The year is 1538, and the bell has stopped ringing. Not because it is broken, not because the rope has snapped or the hand has failed to pull it, but because we have been told it must never ring again. I remember the last time I heard it. The sound rolled over the fields like it always had, steady, certain, eternal. It called us to prayer, just as it had called the sisters before us and the sisters before them. 100 years of voices gathered in one sound. We did not know it would be the last. We never do. My name no longer matters. They took that from us too. Not with ink, not with decree. They took it by scattering us, by making sure no one would remember who we had been together. But I remember. I remember the convent as it was before the king's men came. We lived in rhythm, not in fear. Dawn prayers in the cold chapel, our breath rising like incense in the winter air. The garden in the afternoons where Sister Agnes spoke to the herbs as if they were children. The silence at night, deep, complete, broken only by whispered psalms. We were not important people. That was our protection. Or so we thought. The first sign was not soldiers. It was paper. A letter, sealed with wax, carried by a man who would not meet our eyes. He handed it to our abbess, Mother Eleanor, and stepped back as if the parchment itself might burn him. We gathered around her as she read. Her face did not change. That was how we knew something was wrong. "The king," she said slowly, "is now head of the church in England." No one spoke. We did not understand. Not yet. Kings made wars. Bishops made doctrine. God made truth. These things did not cross, but they had. Weeks passed, then months. Rumours reached us like distant thunder. Monasteries closing, abbesses arrested, priests forced to swear new oaths. We told ourselves we were too small, too poor, too forgotten to matter. We told ourselves many things. Then one morning the gates opened. They did not arrive as conquerors. There were no drawn swords, no shouted commands, only men in dark coats carrying ledgers and ink. Behind them, a few guards. Silent, watchful, unnecessary. One of the men stepped forward. "By order of King Henry," he announced, his voice flat rehearsed, "this house is to be surveyed and surrendered to the crown." Surrendered, as if we'd ever held it for ourselves. They walked through our convent like ghosts who believed themselves alive. They touched everything, not with reverence, with calculation. How many silver items? How many acres? How many inhabitants? We were not sisters anymore. We were numbers. I followed one of them into the chapel. He stood before the altar, tilting his head as if judging livestock. "Gold leaf," he muttered, making a note. "Moderate value." I wanted to tell him that I had knelt on that stone floor every morning for 12 years, that I had watched Sister Margaret die there, her hands folded around a wooden cross, that every crack in those walls held a prayer, but he would not have understood. To him, it was inventory. They found the relics next, bones wrapped in cloth, kept safe for generations. One of the men unwrapped them, held them to the light and laughed. "Saints," he said, "or so they claim." He tossed them back into the chest like scraps. Something inside me broke then. Not loudly, not visibly. Just a quiet fracture, like ice forming beneath water. That evening we gathered in the chapter house. Mother Eleanor stood before us, her hands steady. "They will return tomorrow," she said. "We are to make our decision." "What decision?" Sister Agnes asked. Mother Eleanor closed her eyes. "We may leave peacefully," she said. "Accept a small pension. Return to the world." A murmur passed through the room. The world, as if we had not left it years ago. "Or," she continued, "we may swear the oath, accept the king as head of the church." Silence. "And if we refuse?" I asked. She looked at me then, not as an abbess, but as a woman who knew the answer and wished she did not. "Then we will be dealt with." That night, no one slept. Some prayed, some wept, some sat in silence trying to memorize the walls. I went to the chapel. The candles were still burning. The air still smelled of this wax and stone. I knelt where I always had. But the words would not come. They returned at dawn, the same men, the same ledgers, the same quiet certainty that everything was already decided. "Well?" the leader asked. Mother Eleanor stepped forward. "We cannot swear what we do not believe." Her voice did not tremble. For a moment no one moved. Then the man nodded. "I see." He turned to a guard. "Record her name." They took her that afternoon. No chains, no struggle. She walked out through the gates with her head high, her hands folded as if in prayer. We never saw her again. Later we were told she had confessed treason. Later we were told many things. After that the work began. Not destruction, not in the way you might imagine. They did not burn the convent, they emptied it. The altar was stripped first. Gold removed, cloth taken, candles extinguished. The crucifix lifted from the wall. I watched as they carried it out. One of the men stumbled slightly, adjusting his grip. For a moment I thought he might look up. He did not. The library was next. Books we'd copied by hand, ink pressed into parchment with patience and devotion. They stacked them in the courtyard. Some were taken, some were burned. The smoke rose into the sky like a second prayer, one no one intended to offer. Sister Agnes tried to stop them. She stood before the shelves, hands outstretched. "These are not yours." The guard did not strike her. He simply moved her aside, as if she were furniture. Days passed, or perhaps only hours. Time had begun to lose its shape. One by one, the rooms emptied. The kitchen fell silent, the garden untended, the chapel hollow. We remained, but we were already gone. The final order came without ceremony. "You must leave." That was all. No blessing, no farewell, just a statement. We gathered what we could carry. Not much. A piece of cloth, a hidden cross, a book, if it could be concealed. I took nothing from the chapel. It did not belong to me. We stood at the gates. For a moment no one moved. Then one sister stepped forward and began to walk. One by one we followed. I turned back once. The doors were closing, not slammed, not forced, just closing, as if they had never been meant to open again. The world beyond the convent was louder than I remembered, too bright, too full. We walked without direction, without destination. Some sisters left within hours. By nightfall, we were fewer. By morning, fewer still. I don't know what became of them all. Some married, some begged, some vanished into towns that did not ask questions, some died. I know this because I heard whispers years later. As for me, I still wake before dawn. I still whisper the prayers. I still hear the bell. They took the convent. They took the altar, the books, the walls. They took our abbess. They took our names from their records. But they did not take everything. Sometimes, in the quiet before morning, I close my eyes, and I am there again. The chapel filled with candlelight, the voices of the sisters rising together, the bell ringing across the fields. They thought that by silencing it, they would end us. They were wrong, because the sound did not live in the bell, it lived in us, and we are still ringing.